All right, we're on.
Sweet. Thanks for
Sure.
having me.
No worries, bro. Thanks for coming. I been really looking forward to this, getting you on.
Yeah.
We are having a chat the other day, having coffee, and it's been a long time since we've seen each other.
Yeah. Like 10 plus years.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I messaged you because you put a post up saying that you're starting a podcast.
yeah,
And I just feel like that takes guts and balls. Anybody that does anything hard deserves kind of like recognition.
yeah,
And I thought I'd just send you a message to say, sick, bro.
yeah.
I'm so keen to listen.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I really appreciate that. I've been thinking about for a long time what direction I want to go in my life, and yeah, man, this is my journey. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. You suit the role, I think. I think you have the archetype of a leader.
Yeah. Thanks for that, bro.
It's all good.
I was thinking long and hard. What am I going to do to be able to help people? Because that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, what's helped me? And podcasts have.
Yeah. Nice. Sick.
Yeah. I feel like you learn so much when you listen to a podcast. Obviously, you learn things when you're reading a book.
Yeah.
Or you learn when you're watching shows or whatever it is. But for me, the most information that I take in and really take on board is when I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's the journey that I want to go on and test the waters in. And and
I think that's cool because you said like it's helped you, so you've been helped and you're wanting to give back to other people. Like a lot of people will listen to this and they might take 10 seconds of what we say and apply it to their life, and it can make them so much better.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't listened to this or anything else, then they wouldn't know any different.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's the choice in learning and choosing the information and absorbing it. Like we have our phones, we have Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, they're good, but they're like, I think they're surface level. Whereas a podcast, you can really dive deep into a story and your experience.
Yeah,
and it's not a 5 second or 10-second quick stimulating video.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a long. It takes effort to listen to a podcast.
Yeah,
it's best when you're in a car because you just like you have to go from A to B, whether it's an hour or 2 hours. So you have the time. You can't do anything but drive and listen.
Yeah,
and you absorb so much information when your brain's just not like overstimulated from so many different things.
You're not going from reel to reel. Like, is this catching my eye? Or, And I feel too. So when you listen to a podcast or you're scrolling through podcasts, you might listen to a podcaster and it might be a podcaster where you want to listen to every podcast that they put out.
Yeah.
But you might listen to a different niche of podcaster where, okay, I like this guest that he has on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to click on this one.
Yeah.
But I may not listen to the other ones that he's got about cooking or. Yeah. So.
You can curate it to what you want. You can pick and choose your guest or your host. If you, let's just say you love cooking or you love like holistic health, you could go and find thousands and thousands of thousands and thousands of hours of people talking about that specific thing. So if you want to get really good at something, just listen to hours and hours and hours of people talking about it. And eventually you'll absorb that information and apply it to your own life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was talking to you the other day and you mentioned that when you were younger, you felt a little bit lost and you weren't sure which direction you wanted to go in life.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you had a thought of going to China.
So where did that come from?
Yeah, where did that come from?
Yeah. So I think like a lot of young people, they don't, I'm still young, but a lot of younger people in their 18s or during school, they don't really know what they want to do with themselves, and they're pressured from external sources. So like, people around me were going to university and I just thought, well, I don't want to do a trade. Well, I maybe didn't want to do a trade. And people around me are going to university. So I thought, I'll just go to university because everyone else is going to university.
Yeah.
That was a massive mistake, but it's a great mistake because I wouldn't have the life that I have right now if I didn't choose to go to uni. Long story short, I ended up deferring. I did a year and a half and I actually hated it. I like the lifestyle. I like the partying, obviously, but I didn't like that I was now in debt, and I just felt like I was studying business and majoring in marketing, and I felt, why am I going to go to university to study business to get me to start a business? I don't need to go to university to own my own company. So I just felt like it was like one step forward, two steps backwards.
Yeah.
And I just had this moment. I remember I was like partying a lot every weekend with my friends, which was fine because, you're young and that's what you do. And I was at the Grand Hotel and I was upstairs, and, I drank too much. I was smoking every weekend, which I shouldn't have. And I just remember thinking, I want to do something different with my life. I'm just over this. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to change.
Yeah.
And I told my friends, I was like, I'm going home. And they're like, oh, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going. So I walked home, had a good hard think about what I was going to do. I came up with nothing.
Yeah.
And then the next best was to ask my parents. And my parents have been literally the most supporting people in my life. They're like my biggest role models. And I asked my dad, I was just like, you're 18 years old. You've just deferred uni. What would you do? I want to know what you would do. And he's just like, he thought about it for a bit and he goes, why don't you get a cultural shock and go to a country that's safe, that can't speak English, so you're forced to learn the language, and that'll kind of make you experience the world and kind of get out of Australia, leave the Illawarra, leave the bubble. And I was like, okay. And he goes, why don't you go to China? So that was the kick that I kind of needed. I just thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll go to China. And I didn't realize at that point that was my destiny. That was what I was going to do. Yeah. So I ended up getting my teaching English as a foreign language, because that's kind of like a prerequisite to get into China.
Yep.
They allow you in if you have a skill set, and the skill set is teaching English to people that can't speak English.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge leap, man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the feeling of you flying over, thinking, okay, I was just in uni, and now I'm on a plane to go to China, and I'm going to go and teach English.
Yeah,
and that would have been incredible.
It was good. I've got so many great memories, and the biggest thing for me, it was just like the cultural shock. Like, I thought I knew what the world was until I landed, and I was like, there's a billion people. There's very, very, very rare was it that I met someone that could speak English. It was crazy. I got stared at every single day in the best way.
Yeah.
They're just curious.
You're just different.
Yeah, I was just different. I had long hair at the time.
Yeah.
People wanted to take photos of me. It was awesome. It was almost like being a celebrity.
Like a superstar.
Yeah, superstar. Yeah. And the family that I stayed with was very, very kind to me. I struggled at the start, just like being alone. I was still 19 at the time.
Yeah. A bit of homesickness as well.
Definitely homesickness. Missed my friends. Missed my I suppose just my routine. Having my surf, my skateboard, like these things. I did take my skateboard with me, but it was great. It was one of the most eye-opening experiences, and I think that was for me the kind of journey to want to travel. I'd always wanted to travel when I was younger. I'd heard of my parents' travels because my parents traveled quite extensively, especially my dad, who was in the Merchant Navy for 10 years.
Okay.
So he's seen a lot of the world. And he had mentioned to me, he never really like told me of all the places he had traveled. He'd just say like something would come up on the TV and he'd just know the answer, or he'd just say, oh, I've been there, or in this specific country they do this. And I'm like, oh, how do you know that? He goes, oh, because I was there.
Yeah.
So it's actually the doing, his experience when I was younger, hearing it has kind of like led me towards this path of like, oh, I want to be like my dad. I want to travel to a certain degree. I feel like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but we should definitely choose our own path. He chose me going to China, and then I had to do China.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just gave me the idea.
You still had to do everything for yourself.
Yeah.
You still had to get there. You still had to work out where am I going to live?
Yeah.
Like, what school am I going to
teach at? Yeah. Thankfully, I was, it was a little bit like an exchange, but it wasn't an exchange. So I lived with the family, and I taught the 5-year-old that lived in that family English. And that 5-year-old, nobody else in the family spoke English apart from the mum, but it was like very, very minimal. So my communications with everybody was through this 5-year-old.
Okay.
He was what I wanted to communicate.
Yeah.
I needed to teach him to be able to communicate to his
tell
mum.
them.
Yeah. Like, I want
That's
more,
amazing.
because they would cook for me if I wanted to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They were rich. If I wanted to go anywhere, I'd have to say to Mike, like, explain to him, oh, can they take me to the shop so I can buy groceries or something like that? Yeah. So I was there for what was supposed to be 6 months. I ended up cutting it shorter and doing 3. I met some amazing people that I'm still in contact with today. And I just felt like it really grew me as a person. And when I finished from China, I felt like I wasn't finished yet. I wanted to do something else, just something like kind of small. So I from China, I flew to Cairns and I hired a camper van just solo. And I just went up to the Daintree Rainforest, which was just like 2 hours north of Cairns. Did the Daintree Rainforest, spent my birthday by myself. I'm just loving it, just like loving life,
just exploring.
Yeah, just exploring.
Getting out there.
And then I just cruised down south, just stopped wherever I wanted to stop. I met a few friends along the way because I'd made some friends in China and they had lived with people in the Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, so I had connections. I could stop and stay. And then I got home, and I suppose the next thing was I'd finished that chunk of traveling, 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I going to do? I need to kind of build a career. And I said to myself, I'd met Maddie at the time, my partner, my fiance now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you when you met as
well. Yeah. So I met Maddie just as I'd started my apprenticeship. So I did my apprenticeship in refrigeration and air conditioning. Thankfully, my dad owned a company in Sydney, so it was quite easy for me to get a job. But I still had to do the hard yards. I still had to go to TAFE. I still had to drive to Sydney to and from.
Yeah.
But Maddie and I's goal was always to travel. And I just said, let me get my 4 years out of the way. Let me get my trade so that I have a skill set so that when we travel, when I come back, I've still got the skill set.
Yeah. And still fall back on that.
Still fall back on that. So we saved really hard. We grew a lot together as a couple, and then we went traveling.
Yeah.
And that's the start of a whole different story and journey if you want to get into that.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask you what it was like traveling around Australia. I was looking on your Instagram page, and man, I'm like looking at your page on Instagram, like that's what I want to do with my life as well. I want to explore and see the world and see Australia. I haven't seen much of Australia, but looking through your eyes on your page and all the places you've been, it looks amazing.
It was so good. And what I say to everybody is, you can do it. Yeah. You live in Australia, you have a decent paying job. Yes, you have a mortgage, but like it's still possible. You can rent this place out. You can buy a cheaper van. You can travel and you can work whilst you're traveling. I always say to everybody, especially that live in Australia, we live in the best country in the world. We have so much opportunity. Whatever you want to do, you can do. You can do it. You have to make it work. And we did so much traveling, and everybody's like, oh, they spent a lot of money. They had a great time, which is true. But we went through a lot of hardship too. Like there's a lot of times where I'm like, I haven't slept. I've been eating like shit. We've been catching plane after plane, or trains and buses are delayed. We're sitting in the rain. We've got heavy backpacks on. There's a lot of like negative aspects to traveling too that a lot of people kind of forget. Yeah. So as good as it is, there are like negatives with everything.
Yeah. It's not always sunshine and rainbows with everything that you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It can be super high and then could be super low.
Yeah.
Like when you go on a holiday, for instance, you plan this holiday, you can't wait. It's going to be great. You get there, the weather's terrible. You can't control that.
No, you can't.
There's some things that just get taken out of your hands that you can't control.
But you still need to make the most of what you have and what's in front of you. Like you could be in paradise and it could be in rain. It could be raining. It's a matter of two perspectives. Yeah. You're in paradise and it's not sunny. That's okay. You're still in paradise. Go and enjoy it. You can do everything in the rain. It doesn't matter. People just say like today that the weather people like to call is miserable. It's like, why is it miserable? It's because like it's a perspective or perception of what we have with bad weather. It's actually not bad. It's just normal.
Yeah, it is normal. Yeah, people just don't want to go outside and get wet.
Yeah.
But if you think about when you're a kid and it was raining, most kids want to go outside and jump in puddles and get wet and, you know, get paddle pop sticks and put them down the side of the gutter and have races. You know, it's just a perspective on things. You grow up and your perspective changes.
It does. I wonder what it is. I wonder what it is that changes changes from kids to adults. Why do we care so much about these things that actually don't really matter?
Yeah.
People don't want to get their hair wet. They don't want to get their clothes wet.
Yeah.
Whereas kids, they just don't care.
Yeah.
Is it ignorance is bliss?
Yeah.
It is very bliss when you don't know. But what is it that we don't know? We're not going to get hurt if we go out in the rain. Why do we not want to go out in the rain?
Well, it could also be a maturity thing as well, where if you observe people who are what you would say more immature, it seems like they're the sort of people that are having more fun.
That's a good point.
Because they're not taking things so seriously. They're the jokers. They're the ones clowning around all the time.
Yeah.
And you're more like that when you're a kid because you don't have that maturity level of, you know, like this is life now. Life's more serious. And and that comes down to a perspective thing as well. But
yeah. It's very interesting. But going back to traveling around Australia, it's like it's interesting how it happened because originally I'd always said to Maddie, I want to travel Australia first and then I want to travel overseas. And that's actually not what we decided to do. We ended up, Maddie's like, we can travel Australia when we're older, which is what a lot of people say. So we decided to quit our jobs, sell our cars, basically sell up everything. We lived in an apartment and we sold it all, or we kept it in storage. And we left March 2020. If you remember March 2020, is when the COVID-19 got announced as a pandemic. So we left March the 20th, 2020, and it got announced the pandemic the 28th of March. So we were there for 8 days. We flew home. Unfortunately, we didn't have flights home. We had to pay $3,500 to come home because it was so much uncertainty in the air. We thought, you know, this is running rapid throughout the world. Like people were dying, which is what the media was telling us. We flew home. We were in lockdown, or we were in isolation for 10 days. Lockdown wasn't a thing in Australia at that point. And we were just like sitting idle. We had sold everything. We didn't have jobs. We didn't have anything to come back to.
Getting ready to go and travel Australia.
Travel the world.
Travel the world.
So we were in Bali at that time.
Okay.
So Bali, and then we're going to do from right to left. So Bali, Asia, India, Europe, a little bit of Africa. So none of that happened. We were there for 8 days. We had to fly home, and we ended up getting jobs. I bought another car, and then I just thought, and COVID was still going on, but you could go to work and whatnot. This is when it was kicking off, but the lockdowns weren't like so strict, so we were still able to pretty much do everything. I think I'll get to it, but when we left for our van trip, we that's when things started to get like shitty in New South Wales, particularly, and so we left the state. But tracking back, I remember it was about June, July, and Maddie and I were sitting at Top Deck car park at Wollongong, and we're like, are we ever going to go overseas? Like, this might actually never happen. Because at that time, there's still a lot of fear mongering going on. And we just thought the world was just going to be like this forever. We're going to have to live with this disease and people are going to wear masks and we're never going to be allowed to travel. So we're sitting there, I think we're having ice cream or whatever. And this like Toyota Coaster or Sprinter or something like pulls up and parks. And I just said to Maddie, we should travel around Australia. Like, why don't we do this first? Why don't we travel around Australia first? Because we can. It's our country.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to. And then we'll do overseas next.
Yeah.
And then it happened. It's a funny story how we came about our van. Every single weekend we were like flocking to Newcastle and Foster and down the coast, and we were looking for different vans. And we'd travel so far, spend all the money on fuel, bring Maddie's dad because he's a mechanic, and they were all like shit. We didn't want to buy them because there was mechanical issues, or there was it just wasn't right. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I think it was the fourth weekend we'd been traveling because we were working throughout the week. So we're spending our weekends looking for a bloody van.
Yeah.
And on the way home, at 3 hours to get home, Maddie was like, "Oh, there's a van like 2 minutes away from our house.
Yeah.
Why don't we go check it on the way home?" I was like, "Cool." Maddie didn't even show me photos, and I was like, "All right, let's just go." And lo and behold, it was like literally 2 kilometers away from where Maddie lives. And we get there, and it's a really nice old lady, and she has this Ford Transit parked in her car park. And she's like, "Here's the keys. Like, look all you want. Just have a look." So we open up the back. It's the same as yours. So it's like the flappy doors that open right up. And me and Maddie hopped inside it. We were in it for 2 seconds, and we looked at each other, and we were like, "This is the one.
Yeah,
this is the van." I hadn't even checked it mechanically or anything. I was just like, I just knew it had so much potential. It was grossly fitted out. No, sorry, the fit out was sick, but like the color scheme and like the carpets were blue, the curtains were velvet red. Like a lot of work had to do to it. We had to do to it, but there was just so much potential, and we're like, "Yeah, this is the one."
Yeah.
Ended up buying it, and then spending every weekend and every afternoon doing it up, like decorating it, painting it, cleaning the outside, getting roof racks, getting a ladder, getting jerry cans. So we spent a lot of money on it, and then getting it obviously mechanically sound
as well. Yeah, for the big trip.
So sold the cars that we had at that time, sold everything that we accumulated over the few months, and then we left.
Yeah.
So we got out of New South Wales pretty quickly because New South Wales is our state. We can I could go do it right now. So we just thought, let's just leave the state and just start in South Australia, because at the time Victoria was shut. So we had done the entire lap, but we hadn't done Victoria because at that time Dan Andrews, the Premier, didn't let anybody in.
Yeah.
So our starting point was South Australia from the east side, and then we just followed the coast the entire way. There's 3 peninsulas.
Yep.
And then we did Adelaide City, and then we did the Nullarbor. We broke down on the Nullarbor. That was an interesting.
Yeah. Not much out
event.
there.
No, there's nothing. It's the world's longest and I think it's the world's straightest road. So our car, you would know because you got a Ford Transit, there's a thing called limp mode.
Yeah.
So it's when your car's like, it can still work, but it's in a safety operation. So it doesn't allow you to go over 70 k's an hour.
Yeah, it's like a safety thing. So it doesn't blow itself up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were on the Nullarbor, and it was too far to go back. So we just had to continue on. And we're going 70 k's an hour, getting passed by these huge road trains. Like, I feel like it was meant to be, because we had broken down. We're in limp mode, and then we were in Esperance. So Esperance is the first stop after the Nullarbor, like the first major stop. And we met this family, and we only would have met this family if we were in limp mode, because the timing was like, it just happened to work out perfectly.
Lined up.
And meeting this family has actually changed our entire lives. Like, if I was to put anybody up on a pedestal and say, this is, if not the most or one of the most important people I've ever met to change my life, it was this family.
Yeah.
There's a lady called Rosie, and she just kind of opened our eyes to, I suppose, COVID and health. She got us onto filtered water.
Yeah.
I was like, filtered water, what's that? Like, I drink tap water, it's fine.
Yeah.
And a lot of listeners out there would go, "Oh, I drink tap water too."
Yeah.
I used to think it was fine until I started.
I still drink tap water, but
it's completely. Yeah. It's fine. It's with the information knowledge you have at the time. So she had this state of the art filtration system in her caravan, and she was just like, "Oh, I'll tell you what, fill up your drink bottles every day from my caravan, whilst we're at this caravan park." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And I was like, I can't really taste the difference. What the hell? It just tastes like water. And then she's like, all right, I think it was day 5. She's like, now go back to tap water. I was like, okay. And literally I filled it up with tap water. Before I even put it to my mouth, I'm like, what? It stinks. Like, what's that smell? It smells of like fluoride and chemicals and whatnot. And I took a sip, and I was like, whoa, like, I feel like this probably shouldn't be in our water.
Yeah.
That was like kind of like the stepping stone into the health world. She kind of just influenced us and said, hey, why don't you try this? Or, hey, spray deodorant's actually bad because your lymph nodes absorb a lot of, they can absorb chemicals.
Yeah.
And your skin's your biggest organ. So, you're spraying anything that you put in your body, if it's got chemicals in it, it's going to absorb straight into the bloodstream.
Absorbs it.
Yeah, absorbs it. So yeah, I don't know how we got there, but yeah, she was kind of like the big shift in me and Maddie in particular. Our relationship kind of changed as well because our whole world had kind of been like flipped upside down. We'd been traveling, living out of a van, living like what we thought was a great lifestyle, which it was. And then we just met this lady who kind of like flipped a whole different world on its head, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
what else is there? You know, there's
Yeah.
deodorant, there's water, and then she told us about sunscreen and you know, different fabrics on how they go to your skin. Yeah, that was that.
There's a whole nother world
yeah,
out there.
Yeah. I feel like that in itself could be a podcast.
Yeah, definitely could talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
I'll just briefly touch on that. But the other day I seen this clip about sunscreen, and that there was, I forget how many bottles it was, but a lot of big companies that you see selling sunscreen with chemicals in the sunscreen that are proven to give you cancer. And these are it's supposed to be protecting us from getting cancer, and yeah, it's a whole
a whole big dark pit that you can get into. That I don't think a lot of people are ready for that.
No.
I wasn't ready for it at the time. It kind of really shocked me, and I found that me and Maddie were just researching everything and anything, conspiracy theories. I hate the word conspiracy theory because at the end of the day, most things that we know or that we think we know are theories.
Yeah.
They're just somebody has created something, this mass equation that we think is right. It's a theory.
Yeah.
And conspiracy theory, everybody's like, oh, it can't be real. I'm like, no, it's a theory. It could be. It could be true.
Yeah, that's
right. It could be true. Yeah. So after we met this family, we'd traveled with them backwards and forwards because we'd catch them or they'd catch us along the West Coast. But yeah, we worked along the way. We worked on grape farms. We worked on organic farms, passion fruit farm. We worked on a table grapes. So it was like a vineyard where we would pick and pack and weigh.
Yep.
And then we'd go to Woolies and we'd see the grapes that we literally packed at that point.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was really, really cool. And we met some amazing people. And I think this was the big thing for us. We'd met a lot of Europeans. So by the time we'd finished our lap and started to travel overseas, those Europeans were back in their country.
Yeah.
And we would just be like, hey,
yeah.
we're in Germany. Hey, we're in France.
Yeah.
And we'd have, accommodation.
You feel like you're speaking to the people that you've already been speaking to in Australia as well, which...
Yeah, it was good. So we had connections already, and, they were more than happy to have us, which is so, so cool. We'd go to Dublin and my friends just like sleep in my bed, you have my room, have my shower, just super, super hospitable people. And we'd formed these connections whilst traveling around Australia. And I feel like the timing of it all, COVID, meeting Rosie, meeting this lady, and meeting these people, just like formulated an even better trip overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So what year was it when you started was it after the lockdowns and all the government restrictions in Australia? Was it soon after that you started traveling overseas?
So we left for the van trip the end of 2020, or the very back end, and we traveled for 18 months or a year and a half. So that leaves us to somewhere in 2023. We left, I think, just before halfway of 2023, and then we traveled overseas for exactly like 11 months and a few days.
Yeah.
So we traveled from 2023, roughly the end of 2020, right through to 2024. 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first country that we went to was Egypt.
Yeah.
That was so, so cool. If I could recommend a country to anybody just to kind of like blow your mind, it's Egypt. Like the pyramids alone are just like, you can't fathom the size.
Yeah.
Like one block, you walk up to the block and it's like literally one block is the size of this room.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And you think, how did they get this block
that
was from a quarry across the Nile. So that means that they got it, took it across water, and then dragged it up and stacked it on top of each other. That I just think that's
incredible.
Super, super interesting. And they did it, I think it's roughly 5,000 to 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And we think we're advanced now. What did they know that we don't know now?
Yeah. I definitely feel like they had a very sophisticated civilization that people don't, and we're still learning a lot about that now. And there's plenty of things that we don't know still. And even them still learning the hieroglyphics and it's incredible. That's definitely on my list of places to go. I did see that you'd been there. Like, man, I really want to go there.
It gives you the biggest shock factor, I think, out of any country, because you're just like, wow, it's a third world country. There's quite a lot of poverty, and then there's Cairo, the city, and then, you know, if you're on a rooftop, which we're in a hostel that costs like $10 a night, and our rooftop hostel, faced the pyramids. So
that's
like,
amazing.
There's a big, you know, desert city, and then a couple of kilometers away is this massive, massive pyramids. It's so cool, and it's just not only the pyramids. There's many, many cool artifacts along the way down the Nile.
Yeah,
Abu Simbel. You know, you got Tutankhamun's cave. I honestly still today believe that there's more uncovered. Sorry, there's more covered than uncovered.
Yeah,
I think there's so much more out there, whether it's in Egypt or wherever else. I feel like there's pieces of information that we're missing. Why was there so many different, you know, successful civilizations, and how did they crumble? We don't know any of this.
No.
They're all just theories.
Well, there's a lot of time between then and now, and that time between when these ancient civilizations were compared to now, through till now, what happened between then?
Yeah,
how come, you know, whatever it was it meteorites? What was it?
Yeah. You don't know. These are the questions that you don't know.
No.
Next off the list was from Egypt to Europe. So that'd been my first time in Europe. We started in Greece and worked our way quite extensively throughout Europe: Portugal, France, Germany, Poland, Iceland. And then we did Portugal, if I didn't say that. Met with a lot of people, went to the UK, did a van trip in the UK.
Yeah.
So we started at the bottom of the UK from Cornwall, if anyone knows where that is. Travel north, stopped at a friend in Manchester that I had met in China when I was 19.
That's crazy.
Stayed with her, you know, met her partner,
Yeah.
met her mum and dad. Still in contact with her today, which is awesome. And then, did top of Scotland, saw the family because my dad's Scottish.
Yeah.
Did Ireland, and then did Wales, came back down. And then, I think from there we kind of kicked off Indo-Asia.
Yeah.
So Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka, to anybody listening to this, go to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
It is super safe, super cheap, and it's rugged and raw. If you can imagine what Bali was like before they had built roads, they have roads in Sri Lanka, but without like a greater Western impact, that's what it's like. It's just so rugged and raw. There's elephants, there's many, many artifacts, and the people are just still, you know, farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're big into the agriculture. And I think that's also another part where me and Maddie kind of fell in love with the whole living on a farm, that kind of lifestyle. And that's what we want. That's our goal for the future.
Yeah. To
be able to be self-sufficient to a certain degree, hopefully have help from other people that want to live on a community farm or whatever.
Yeah.
So through all this travel, I feel like it's really changed me, changed us.
For the better.
For the better, massively. And we've grown, me and Maddie, we've grown. Our relationship has developed so much so because we've spent so much time together. I thought about this the other day. I thought a lot of couples, they're together, but then they go to work, and work takes up a big chunk of your life, and you see them in the afternoon, or maybe you have sports, and on the weekend you have sports and you hang out with friends. So like the amount of time me and Maddie put in together, side by side, whether it's we've traveled around Australia 60,000 kilometers together right round, and Maddie was sitting right next to me the entire time. She couldn't have been anywhere else because we were driving a car. And even like sitting on a plane or traveling to all these different countries, like it either makes you or breaks you. And I feel like after everything that we've done, I couldn't be any more solid in who I am as an individual and who we are as a couple.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think too, you've seen the world together at the same time together.
Yeah.
Living in every moment together. And that's like those experiences and those memories you can't pay for.
No.
As well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that you're going to be older with talking about all these memories that you had together, and what an experience.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the experience, and it was risk, packing up everything and saying goodbye to everyone and having nothing to come home to and leaving your career. It comes at a cost, but the cost is the uncertainty of what's going to happen when you travel. But I think that's a positive.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, therefore everything's new, therefore everything's exciting.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just stay in the same career, which some people, it's fine. Some people don't want to travel, and, kudos to you, that's fine. But when I first met Maddie, we said we were going to travel. We said it, therefore we put a plan into action and we did it.
Yeah.
And our travel isn't done, but I'm proud of us and I'm proud of myself particularly to say something and actually stick by it, because I feel like there's a lot of people that say they're going to do something and don't do it. For instance, like you said, you're going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Here we are. You said you're going to run a marathon. No, you haven't ran the marathon yet, but you're training to do it. And I'm 99.9, maybe even 100%. I'm willing to put all my money on it. I hope that you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like people that say and do, not just say.
Yeah. Don't be someone who says that you're going to do something and then don't do it. And I don't want people to put me accountable. You should put yourself accountable.
Yep. It starts with you.
Yeah, it does.
And ends with you.
Yeah. And I heard something great last night. If your boss tells you to turn up at 7 a.m. in the morning, what are you going to do? You're going to turn up and be there for 7 a.m., right? Because he's your boss.
Yep.
If you tell yourself that you're going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, most people won't. They will not go.
That's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah. So why is it that you won't listen to yourself when you really know what you want to do?
Yeah.
But you'll listen to someone else telling you what to do just because they're paying you a wage.
Yeah. Money.
Yeah, money.
Is that the only thing that's kind of like driving you to force you to do something?
Yeah.
That's cool. I've never really thought of it that way. If someone tells you to do something, you're probably more likely to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you tell yourself you're going to do something, depends who you are, sometimes you just be like, no. Because I feel like you can get away with not doing it, and you live with the fact that you didn't do it, but you'll just be like, oh, well, I chose not to do it, so therefore it's fine.
Yeah. Well, that comes down to being disciplined, and I feel like I'm definitely a little bit lazy. I won't lie.
Everybody is in some way.
And I've started trying to change my perspective on things more, where even if, okay, so I just finished a meal or I finished a drink or whatever it is, and I go and put the cup in the sink instead of the dishwasher. I put it in the sink because it's easier than opening up the dishwasher, sliding the rack out and putting it on the rack, which takes 5 seconds longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely feel like if you can, when you say you're getting up to go to the gym in the morning, or when you say you're going for that run in the afternoon, or whatever it is, if you can turn up for yourself and do these small steps, it's going to make these harder steps in life a lot easier.
Yeah. Win by 1%.
That's right.
Just little micro wins along the way, and they'll make those big wins seem easier.
Yeah.
That's heaps cool.
I think everyone should be disciplined in one form
or another. Yeah, I think it's crucial for human society, and just to have some sort of discipline. I like the saying, and it's really been ringing true with me lately: get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm not saying put yourself in pain.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, there's a difference between pain and discomfort.
Yeah.
Like, some people, for instance, like an ice bath, they're like, oh, it's too hard. I'm like, yeah, but it's good for you.
Yeah.
And you'll feel better after it. Nobody sits in an ice bath and goes, this is so good. I feel so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to sustain it. It's the feeling you get after you do something hard that impacts you. And you get like this elation, this feeling of feeling high, high on life.
Euphoric.
It's a free dopamine hit straight from the body.
Yeah.
So I encourage anybody to do anything that's hard for them. Something that's hard for us might not be hard for someone else, or something that's easy for us might be very, very difficult for someone.
Yeah.
Whether it's like getting up and looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm going to go for a walk. If you say to yourself, you're going to go for a walk, after the walk, look back in the mirror and give yourself a mental high five, because you said you're going to do something and you did it.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
needs to be rewarded.
Definitely.
Just through you, through the individual. Don't worry about like seeking validation from others. Oh, good job, you did a run, or kudos to you on your run on Strava.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you can give yourself a kudos on Strava. Do you know?
No,
you can't. I feel like you should be able to.
Yeah.
Because you
give yourself a pat on the back sometimes.
That's it. Yeah. And I do that when I don't want to do something, and then I do it. I look in the mirror and it's just like a mental high five. It's just like, you said you were going to do it and you did it.
It's small wins as well.
Yeah.
If you say that you're going to do something and you go and do it, afterwards you're going to be like, yes, like, you're not going to regret that you did that.
Yeah. No regrets.
You're not going to be upset with yourself that you just went and did some exercise.
Yeah.
You're going to feel great.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to regret it if you don't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all comes down to having a bit of discipline. That's another thing too. Yeah. Having motivation to do something and having discipline are two very different things.
People think they're the same, but they're on opposite corners.
Yeah. See, that's with me starting this podcast. I started off so motivated.
Yeah, of course.
Extremely motivated. I was dreaming about it. I was just consuming all my thoughts. I couldn't even think about anything else. And then the past few days, I'm like, man, this is
scary.
This is scary. This is going to be hard. It's not going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But you know what? I said I'm going to do it, and I know that I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That's what discipline is.
That's it. Living a life true to yourself as well. If you never did the podcast and always wanted to, I feel like there'd be that resentment there, whether it's conscious or subconscious.
Yeah.
You would always think to yourself, I really want to start a podcast and I didn't. And have you ever read the book, 5 Regrets of the Dying?
No, I haven't. Can you tell me about it?
I won't go too much into it because I want people to read it. It's just interesting, the major 5 regrets. I can't remember them, all of them off the top of my head, but the main one was, I wish I didn't let others influence my decision, or I wish I spoke up when I should have.
Yeah.
You know, when you just like hold your tongue and you think you want to say the truth, your truth, but you don't, because it's to make someone else feel better.
Yeah.
Like, speak the truth
instead of being true to yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's what it all circles back to, the individual. Like, we need to not be egotistical or, self-righteous or anything like that. I think we need to remember that it starts with us and ends with us. So put yourself first.
Definitely.
Yeah. And bring others up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Every run that you do or everything you do on your podcast, I'm like, so good. I send you a message like, this is so good. Because I know that like words of like encouragement help. It's like that little kick. You're just like, oh yeah, like
it is.
Sean wants me to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I want to do it as well. But there's others counting on me to do it.
And I'm going to do it anyway. But
yeah,
if I know for a fact, like I've got this small group of friends or whoever it is, some stranger online, and they're like, good on you, like keep it up. I'm like, man, like
I don't know you.
These people are watching me. I'm like, I better not let myself down.
Like let alone them. Yeah.
I love seeing people win.
Yeah.
I love seeing people change careers.
Yeah.
Or challenge themselves, whatever it is. Like someone puts up online, I'm doing 50 push-ups a day. Good on you, man.
That's hard.
That's hard work. Like whatever it is. And if it's something new to them and they're out there doing it or they're striving to be better, that's great. I love that. I love seeing a carpenter at work changing careers because they don't want it anymore and they want to do something else. You shouldn't do that same job, or you shouldn't do like whatever it is. Like if you lose love for it, but you want to try something else, why not?
Have a crack.
Yeah.
Even if it's one day a week, like we had this conversation, like transitioning from careers. I used to do air conditioning and I felt like that was the only thing that I could do because that's what I set out to do. I wanted to get my trade under my belt, travel, and then do my trade. But now I kind of like my mindset has shifted, and I thought, well, I was suffering from an injury for a while, which we can go into if you want. And I thought, I'm going to need to find a different way to make income, make money. Yeah. And that's how I kind of got into support work because one, I wanted to help people, whether it's through support work or holistic lifestyle coaching. And two, the pay's pretty good. So I thought, well, that's a bit of a win-win.
Yeah.
I'm not dropping too much in my wage, which it's okay. It's all about like how much you need and how much you think you need. It's easy to compare yourself with others and go, well, they're earning this much, or everybody that's a tradie that I went to TAFE with is now, 10 years or 8 years into their trade, like, and I'm far behind them. Like, I'm not comparing myself to them. I'm on my own path.
That's
and I'm making it work for me.
Yeah.
And this year in particular, I just feel like I'm like full steam ahead on support work and holistic lifestyle coaching. And I think it was probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, kind of like just put my trade to the side and go, I have to focus on something else because I'm going to be coming home in pain every day. Because the job was very physical and I love my trade. It's so good. It's so technical. It's so like people oriented. Communication skills are important, which is everything I want in a job. But I just find myself just in too much pain through lifting or through just aggravated movement. And yes, the pain's getting better and I can deal with it, but I've already kind of like hopped on a different career and I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I can come home most days. You're not going to come home every single day from a job and go, that was the best day of my life. Or, that was awesome. Like I have shit days, definitely. But I'm definitely coming home thinking, I made a difference in somebody else's life. And that's really, really cool and really, really powerful.
Yeah. And that's really rewarding as well.
Super, super rewarding. Yeah. I get something from it too, as well. Definitely. As much as I'm looking after them, I'm definitely absorbing some of that good energy.
Yeah. How good does it feel helping other people in need as well? There is just something about, no matter how big or small it is, if it's helping the little old lady pack her groceries into a car or whatever it is.
For free.
You will think about that for the rest of your day and you feel great from it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the old saying as well, you shouldn't give to receive.
Yeah.
Same goes for getting presents and things like that. Like,
respect.
If I want to give you something, whatever it is, I'm giving that to you because I want to help you or whatever it is. You shouldn't expect it back. And I think it's great that you're doing the disability sport and you're helping change these people's lives. And even no matter how like difficult they are, or you're really you really are changing their lives.
Yeah, I'm showing up for them. I
Yeah.
think that's one thing, like remaining present. A lot of people get into industries for different reasons, and I feel like I wanted to be a little bit different and have a different approach. I wanted to, bring them up, make them feel like I wasn't just a worker. They weren't just paying me. Like I wanted to be there, and I do want to be there.
Yeah.
And I've built such a great relationship with a whole bunch of clients, and I'm excited. I'm actually meeting another client today that I've never met before.
Yeah.
I'm meeting their parents and the son, and then I've got a client this afternoon that I'm taking to Nantian Temple. Like I'm just pumped. I'm pumped for it. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And they're so open to change and so open to wanting to be better. I feel like people with disabilities, they're so driven because unfortunately they lack what a neurotypical person has.
Yeah, they have some restrictions.
They have restrictions, and anybody that's restricted, whether it's disability or a third world country, they struggle and they want to do better always. And that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It is.
If you need the help, I'm here to help you. Anybody. If anybody messages me right now and said, "Hey, I really need someone to talk to," I'm going to take the time to talk to you.
Yeah,
I'll give you a voice message. I'll give you a text message. I'll even call you. If you don't know me, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I fully don't care.
That's a beautiful mindset to have. Definitely. I feel I don't know about you, but I feel that I've struggled with people, especially people who I thought were my friends, but I've struggled with people who haven't really had my back or given me the time to support me or send me a message, no matter how small it is, when I'm going for something that I really want to do, or no matter how big or small it is, even if I'm running or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't need your support, but your support matters to me.
Yep.
And that's why I think your mindset on all of that and helping people and lifting other people up and wanting to see people win is huge, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
Appreciate that.
And I'm so glad that you're in my life now.
I know.
Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
I cherish good friendships, wholesome friendships. I feel like just on that topic, I struggled a lot with people who I thought were my friends, and I don't think it's that they don't care. I just feel like they're just so consumed in their own life, which is completely fine. I'm not having a go at them. Friends, I learned this the hard way. Friends come and go. And sometimes it's very hard to let friends go.
Yeah.
Especially people you've grown up with, who've like literally hit puberty together, chased girls together.
Yeah.
Had fights and beefs and woken up at 4 o'clock to catch a train to Mystics and go surfing together. Like people that I thought would be in my life forever that aren't. Like it took me ages to get over it. I was hurt. It was like a breakup, honestly. And it was like a 2-year long breakup, and I just couldn't fathom it until I finally just kind of realized, okay, this person doesn't or isn't going to be in my life too much anymore. I need to seek others.
Yeah.
Like-minded people. And surround myself by people I want to be around, and people that are doing good things, or I can help them do good things.
Yeah.
Because it's synergy. You can be the best person, but like to have a squad or a crew around you that's also doing good things, it creates energy.
Yeah.
And it's good, and it's momentum. It's one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all help each other in some way or another, whether it's positive feedback or I give you a call and just ask you how your work week was.
Yeah. It will definitely help the journey onto the place that you want to get to.
Yeah.
It will make it a lot easier if you're surrounding yourself with those like-minded people.
Yeah.
Rather than those people that are still going out Friday, Saturday and Sunday night, getting blind drunk and spending their whole week's wage.
Yeah. Which they can do.
Not having a dig at anyone. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been there and done that.
Done it. Yeah. You can't complain about not having money though.
No.
Or having a headache. Like, I don't think you get to complain about that.
Yeah.
Because you're making those choices.
That's right.
You're choosing to live that lifestyle.
Yeah, it's funny. Do you know the exact point in the mindset shift where you thought, yeah, I want to spend the rest of my life completely healthy. I want to be fit. I want to feel good.
I think it was like an accumulation of I really struggle with hangovers. I feel horrible, horrible, so much so that I'm like, I don't want to like be here right now. I just want to like shut my eyes and forget about everything. And I'd do stupid things the night before, and I'd regret them, and my back would be sore, and I'd be stressed, and I could feel my heart pumping in the morning when I'm just like super super hungover, and I just feel like it's an accumulation of feeling like shit, and then slowly progressing to like a healthier and healthier lifestyle. And then I'm like, wow, I feel really, really good. I feel energized. Like some people, it's funny, some people like criticize, they're like, oh, you're really healthy. I'm like, is that a bad thing?
No.
Like I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm just doing what I want to do. I wouldn't say to you, you're really unhealthy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right attitude to have, whether it's for a positive or negative. Like there's the negative connotation to say, you're really healthy. It's like, well, yeah, okay. That's my journey.
Yeah. We're like, well, I am.
Yeah, well, I am, and I feel good. And they're like, oh, why do you do it? Well, I want to get this. I want to get the person listening to this will laugh. I want to get a hot chocolate or something. I'm like, that's fine. Like, it's okay. We talked about this just before the potty, 80-20, 90-10, like 80% good, 20% bad.
Yeah.
But make sure that 20% bad isn't like cocaine or
you don't have to be perfect.
No,
just aim to be pretty good.
Yeah,
the majority of the time.
Yeah, for sure. And it's balance as well, like the yin and yang, which is a philosophy that I kind of like really live by. Inside good, there's bad. Inside bad, there's good. So in bad people, there's a little pinprick of a normal human being. And then inside good people, there's always that little bit of bad. We can never be 100% of anything. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
100% certainty does not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you're training to become a holistic lifestyle coach.
Yeah.
What made you get into that, and why did you choose the holistic path?
Yeah.
Rather than the
I
would say general.
Yeah. Lifestyle coaching.
Yeah, lifestyle coaching.
Yeah, that's it. Great. That's a sick question. For me, it was my injury. So I had gone through so many different avenues to try and fix this injury, and nothing was working. I was spending a shit ton of money. For anyone that wants to know, I had a bulging disc in my L5 S1, which is the last vertebrae of your spine, going into your sacrum. And S1, anyone that has S1 pain is like sciatica. So you get like a nerve pain throughout your leg. And I just found that I felt like I was on the way to recovery, and I'd get really like bummed out when it wouldn't work. And I'd be like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm paying a lot of money. I'm paying these professionals and they're not helping me. They're helping me to a certain degree, but then I just fall back into it.
Yeah, it's not fixing the problem.
That's it. And the only way to fix a problem is looking at it holistically, which is where the holistic lifestyle coaching comes from.
Yeah.
I like the coaching aspect. I liked the living a good lifestyle as a coach aspect. And then I was just like, well, let's do a course, holistic lifestyle coaching, which is, for anyone that wants to know, it's check. So health, you could call him a guru or a health figure in the USA. His name's Paul Chek. He's created the Chek Foundation, which is corrective holistic exercise kinesiology. And he kind of talks about like building foundations. What are the 6 or the main foundations of a healthy person? And those are sleeping, hydration, eating, moving, thinking, and there's another one in there that I forgot. Yeah. So basically those ones are like, if you have all of those dialed, you are on your way to living a great lifestyle. So for an example would be like a marathon runner, like your nutrition's perfect, you're disciplined, your thought actions are right, your breathing, that was the last one. Breathing. You breathe, I think it's 36,000 times a day.
Yeah.
So that takes up a lot of time, and a lot of people breathe, they have a big diaphragmatic breath or they have a little shallow breath, and that's just like a stress response. So if you kind of focus on trying to breathe 60% or 70% through the belly, and then at the 30% through the chest. You're kind of like expanding and not expanding. So going in and out, in and out. And you're focusing on like kind of dialing in the breath. Moving on from that, if everything is great, but you're not sleeping well, like that's a huge downfall.
Yeah.
And you could take that out. You could be sleeping well, you could be thinking right, but if your nutrition is not right, massive downfall. Just get these pillars, get the foundations of the building, and then start putting the blocks on top. But if you don't have these ones, the building's not going to last.
Yeah.
And that was my journey throughout my back pain. I saw I kind of did it myself. I saw a whole bunch of Czech practitioners around Australia, and I took bits and pieces from everybody. And I feel like that was what, and I saw an amazing PT. I saw a Finch therapist. I saw an acupuncturist. I saw a naturopath. I took matters into my own hands, and I built the knowledge from all these different practitioners. And that was what basically kind of, I feel like, healed me.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's great too that you went down the path of trying to heal yourself rather than put a Band-Aid on it, which is
temporary fix.
Yeah, definitely. Which I think is, and I'm sure you know more about than me, but pharmaceutical drugs, for the most part, are a Band-Aid, where there's something else going on where you could fix it for. It could be your sleep, it could be your diet, it could be your movement, your breathing, whatever it is. It could be, resolved with that rather than just taking.
It's because it's the quick option, the pill or the pharmaceutical out. That path it's quick. Take it, have a sip of water, continue taking it.
And that's an easy way.
It is, yeah. I can understand it. There is a place for pharmaceutical drugs and, Western technology, whether it's like MRIs or like we have fantastic technology, but I feel like naturopathy or natural medicine has its place too. And it just gets pushed to the side. It just gets disregarded. It's just like, no, not real. Or there's only 1% better. Only 1% better. That's still better than not fixing it and just masking the issue.
Yeah, definitely. I'll dive into that just briefly, but I went and seen some doctors. I had some pretty bad gut health, was experiencing pain, really uncomfortable in the gut, constantly, when I'd go to the toilet, it wouldn't be good. And it wasn't until I started looking deeper into it and thought, well, how can I heal my gut rather than how can I try and fix the problem? And I went to doctors and like your general GPs, and he had no idea why I was experiencing that. He take some pills. Had an ultrasound on my stomach. It didn't do anything. They couldn't find anything. And it wasn't until I started eating predominantly whole foods, it went away.
Wow. So
my gut is perfect now. I don't have any issues with it anymore.
That's wicked.
Majority, I'd say 95% of the time I eat whole foods. So that's
single ingredients, people. Just stick to
it can't be bad for you.
No, it cannot be bad for you. And people have intolerances, whether it's through wheat or grains, or I would just try to have a holistic approach on nutrition, having a whole foods diet, trying to really round it out. Look at your vegetables. There's different colors. Colors have different meanings, like your deep purple and blues, or your deep purples are full of antioxidants. Like, make sure. So people are like, I have salad. I'm like, but all you have is like lettuce and cucumber and tomato. I'm like, get those deep rooted veggies into you as well. It'll do you a whole lot of good.
They all have their benefits, and there's you can't really go wrong.
No, it's not going to harm you.
No,
for having
no.
single ingredient.
And what people don't realize as well is you can still treat yourself if you love cheesecake or you love caramel slice or whatever it is.
Yep.
You can still eat that. Just don't eat it every day.
Yeah, that's it. There is allowances there, 80, 20, 90, 10 for that bad food.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be bad. Like me and Maddie have lots of treats, but like she makes them from scratch.
Yeah.
She makes like this mean ass caramel slice. It's like got like ghee, dark chocolate, 80% chocolate, and then like a biscuit base. And it's delicious. And it's a treat.
Yeah.
But I don't feel guilty having it.
No. Yeah. It still
great.
tastes good.
Yeah.
But it's full of better ingredients.
Yeah. And she's made it from scratch. I can appreciate that. Yeah. Instead of just buying something from a package, like, yes, it's easier, but like, dawn of the days where like people just like made everything. We used to be like that. We used to have to do everything or use the community around us to build these, to make these things. Now it's just like convenience.
Yeah, just go to the shops or
Amazon next day delivery. Everyone wants things instantly.
Yeah, instantly. They do.
Like, the good things take time and effort. Yeah.
Yep. As a general rule of thumb, anything that comes easily, it's probably not that good for you. But I did have a question about being a parent and particularly mothers with your approach to health and well-being. What piece of advice would you give to a mother who is really struggling at sleeping every night? Would you say, okay, like you're going to be up every night, your sleep's disturbed.
Yeah.
Would you really dial in the nutrition and all the other aspects to try and counteract that in a way?
That's a good question. So I'm still studying at the moment. So like, it's hard for me to kind of like have a huge say. I just do this for what works for me.
Yeah.
But if a friend or you're a friend is coming to me and needing advice, I would just say like, try and be that 1% better each day. So like, for instance, having a baby, you're not going to sleep that well that night. So maybe let's put away the phone right before bed. Let's not like doom scroll.
Yeah.
Maybe do a little bit of a meditation just to kind of like calm your nervous system right down before you're actually trying to sleep, rather than just like constant stimulation. Whether you look through your phone or you're looking at a light, whether you like it or not, that's a response. That's your brain telling you to stay awake. And if you just like click your phone off and try and go to sleep, your brain's still ticking. It still thinks, I just saw light 5 seconds ago. I'm not going to sleep yet. Yeah. I'm gonna take the time. There's nighttime teas. There's magnesium. There's so many different things you can kind of look, and everybody's different, which is the great thing about holistic lifestyle coaching. Like each client will come to you with specific needs, and like it's up to you to identify what that person needs. And someone can come to you with the exact same problem as someone else, and you just tackle it two very, very different ways because they don't live the same life. Nobody lives the same life. So I would focus on hydration for sure. Hydration's huge.
Yeah.
Your whole body, 80% of it is water. So fill it with preferably filtered water, or good quality water if you can. Just do your best. If it's tap water, it's tap water. Just do your best.
Yeah.
Some people can't even stay hydrated on tap water. I'm like, well, okay, let's get your hydration up to standard, and then focus on the filtration later
afterwards.
Movement. We're made to move. Like use your body, strength train. Get your core as strong as you can. The core is like the foundation, the building block of your whole body.
Yeah.
It's the center point. So everything below and everything above revolves around the core. And then get your gut health right. So, you can take gelatin or collagen, or you can even have like a, what's it called?
What about your cool?
Are you cool?
Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan,
No.
only because I just feel like it's hard to comment. Personally, no. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to comment too much on it. There's products out there that soothe the gut, that help the lining of the gut. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it. So I would be looking at healing the gut, keeping up with hydration.
Yep.
Mindfulness practice, which comes from meditation, breathing exercises, even just like you giving yourself a high five in the mirror. That's a mental thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a positive. Any positives will accumulate over time.
Yeah.
Breathing obviously comes into the meditation. Breathing, meditation are joined.
Yeah.
You can't hold your breath and meditate.
No.
I would just be looking at the very, very simple things. And if it's the simple things that don't work, then I would be looking at professional help.
Yeah.
Like a naturopath.
Yeah.
Tonics, herbal remedies.
Yeah.
Get the foundations right. Still not helping. Move on.
Yeah.
Spread your eggs. If you're investing your money, don't invest everything in one basket. Yeah. See a few different people. Yeah, it'll cost money, but your health is priceless.
Yeah, it is.
You can't put money on your health because you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. When you start feeling great, and we'll say it's someone who was really unhealthy before, and then they start becoming really healthy, and they say, "Oh, I feel amazing now." No, you don't feel amazing. You feel normal.
Yeah,
it's how you're supposed to feel. Which people get it. I feel they get that wrong. So now, like the health journey that I've been on myself is, I could say I feel amazing, but I'm probably just feel how I'm supposed to be feeling.
I feel like a human.
Yeah, where before I didn't have my health.
Yeah.
One last question for you for the podcast.
Yep.
What is a quote or a lesson that you've learned in life? Well, the best quote or lesson that you've learned in life has been most valuable to you?
Yeah, it's a sick one. So many come to mind. But one that stands true to me is comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to others. I used to be like, oh, I wish I had a better car, better phone, better job, better paying job. Like, if you're constantly comparing yourself to others, then you're never going to be enough.
Yeah.
Just be happy with what you have. And through my travels, I've really, really realized, I've solidified this. We live in the best country. We have unlimited opportunity. Anything you want to do, like I said at the start of the podcast, you can do it. You want to travel around Australia, you've got 4 kids, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it might be a little bit harder, but
yeah, it's definitely going to be harder, but it's still possible. So yeah, my big takeaway would be, don't compare yourself to others. There is a different side, so you can look at it. Comparing yourself to someone that's doing better than you can be bad because you're just like, I just want this, I need this, I want to be better, which is great. But then there's also the side of, you look at people who are disadvantaged in a third world country that have to travel to drink fresh, clean water. They don't even get fresh, clean water.
Yeah.
Or they don't have a mum and dad, or they don't have access to education. So, they're super excited to get a stencil book and a couple of coloring in pens.
Yeah.
Like, use that to motivate you and go, oh, I'm super, super lucky to be alive and to be in the country that I am and to have the resources around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, that is a really great perspective to have.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sean, for coming on the podcast. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime, I'm sure. If I give it a while, you'll
I'll be up for round 2 for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Cheers, bro. Thanks.